Hi there, how you doing today? I'm David Moyer with the Battle for a Healthy Voice. Many of you see me on the videos. Now, perhaps that was kind of hard to understand. And it wasn't just because I was speaking fast, because I can speak fast right now, and you understand exactly what I'm saying. You see, I've studied a system years ago when I got into a group called Fred Waring's Pennsylvanians, which Fred Waring had developed, called tone syllables. And that way, when you learn it properly, every sound of every single syllable of every single word can be understood, whether you're singing or you're speaking. But it's a very difficult method of learning to pronounce all the consonants, all the diphthongs, all the frontal thongs, as we call them, all the combinations of consonants, and all the vowels. So it's very hard, but you can learn it. And many of you have responded to my first video, when I did a short recently, called, "Why Can't People Understand Me When I Sing?" Well, that's because when you go to a concert, most of the time you can't understand the artists either. It's a forgotten system. I've developed it a little further than Mr. Waring. Fred Waring and his Pennsylvanians was the group in which I got into 1974 and 75. And I've developed a system called Projectional Pronunciation. Now, I could whisper from the end of the room about 20 to 25 feet away, and you could understand what I'm saying. And I could do it very fast, and you'd understand most of it because of this system. So what I'm going to do is today I'm going to show you some of it. We have what's called pitched consonants. They're pitched consonants whether you use them as tone syllables or projectional pronunciation. We're going to use the term projectional pronunciation from now on. There's pitched consonants, and in those pitched consonants, there's what's called sustained pitched consonants, and then there's what's called pitched consonants that are called subvocals. Then we have what's called plosives. Those are unpitched consonants. We have what's called diphthongs, and that's a little harder to understand, but it's when you do your vowel sounds. It's like A, E, A, O, and U. Now, if Italian said that, and I studied Italian, as well as French and German and some other languages, how to sing them phonetically, they would say, E, A, O, U. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home. My father-in-law, full-blooded Italian, spoke a lot like that, even though he would tell you, I no got no accent, but he did. But when you learn to do projectional pronunciation, you can be understood in Italian, Japanese, Chinese, when you're singing or speaking all day long, whatever language it may be. Russian, doesn't matter. English, even if you have a dialect. So, with that in mind, I want you to remember, I'm going to introduce now these sustained pitch consonants. One is an M, like in mother. And you heard the TH. That's a combination that comes out. So you have and then you have an R, Those are all sustained pitch consonants. You have to get the mouth to close in sort of a trumpet shape, like the end of a trumpet or the end of a clarinet. Where do you think they got the idea to make the end of a trumpet like that, or a clarinet, other instruments, saxophone, trombone, tuba, whatever? Well, before instruments, that is man-made instruments, there were singers. They saw somebody sing like this. And then they heard somebody and saw them sing like this. And then they heard and saw somebody sing like this. And they went, wow, that's the sound. Bang the end of that horn out, or shape the end of it when you shape the wood for the clarinet. That's what they did, and that's where it came from. So, in order to get us back to where we can be understood when we sing or speak, the mouth can't be opening wide and closing. For one thing, resonance doesn't come from a big open mouth. What you have to do, even if you open and not really wide and garishly, in almost like a horrific effect or a monster, well, what you have to do is you have to remember the cave theory. My mouth resonates the sound. I make space inside the mouth. The front, above my teeth, my solid bone with the gum over it, and below my teeth in the back, solid gum, those are walls that produce resonance. So when you resonate your cave, when you resonate in a cave, your voice, when you resonate your cave, and isn't that interesting? When you resonate your voice in a cave, the truth is that it bounces all around off the walls. But if you do this with your mouth, then you took off and you made the front of the cave as big, the opening of the cave that the sound comes out of, as big as the inside of your mouth. And then you have to jam down in your bands. And most people today, the majority of teachers, teach what's called power singing. It's also dominating in opera too, and especially in Broadway. They do what's called Broadway belt, but with extreme throat compression. Instead of like that. And it's very easy. It's called singing on the breath. So remember, M, th, R, N. We've got also Z and J, J. These are all combinations. The end of sing goes sing. And you have to put the same kind of support system to work, but additional thrust from it to make those heard. Plus, you have to point with your lips. I'll give you an example. Bruno Mars does this very well. He had a great song a number of years ago, which is count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. But if you don't do the mouth right, you get this. You can count on me like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And you don't get the pitched consonants with any kind of intercostal additional thrust. Everything is pretty hard to understand. So let's leave it with that. Sustained pitched consonants and combinations of sustained pitched consonants. So combinations, okay? We'll talk more later. And remember, I want you to understand that if you talk like this, you're not going to be understood. And if you sing like this, oh, the sun will come out tomorrow, let your bottom down. Oh, the sun will come out tomorrow, bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. Make the little trumpet mouth, lift in the cheeks, let it bounce off a whole part of the cave. Keep the front of the cave small, but the inside of the cave, make it big, especially at the top. Not jamming down in the back of the tongue, on the back of the throat, but up, lift up. Okay, we'll talk more about that later. And remember, you can text me at 760-445-9043, or you can also email me at moyerdg1950@gmail.com. That's MOYERDG1950@gmail.com, okay? Meanwhile, have a great day. Not have a great day, or thank you very much, but have a great day. And thank you very much. Bye-bye for now.